want to start is with you, Hassan, because it's been announced today. We know that Son has won Player of the Month for September, and Big Ange at Tottenham was celebrated again. Is that Manager of the Month 2 months running for him?
Yep, 2 months running.
2 months running. And I saw this tweet from you, and this tweet said, "If I speak, they'll say I'm obsessed, so I'll leave this one alone." What's your problem with you've got a problem with Tottenham PR? What's wrong with it?
I mean, Tottenham PR definitely disgusts me right now. I think it's a little bit over the top. When you unpack what Tottenham's done this season, I don't think it's as impressive as people make out at all. Ange Postecoglou definitely doesn't deserve Manager of the Month. I think, okay, if you want to give Son Player of the Month, I disagree with that. I think Salah should have won Player of the Month because he's been by far the best player on the pitch we've seen this month, in my opinion. Or Declan Rice, I could understand. I don't, but you know, it is what it is with Son. You know, he's a nice guy and shit, but I don't think Ainge deserves it. I don't think Ainge deserves it for this month, specifically given what happened in the Liverpool game. And I think, you know, you could even say, I think Arteta deserves it for this month because they did beat Manchester City, and this is a hurdle they haven't done in a while. I think with Tottenham Hotspur, the hype is too much right now. That's the ultimate reality, whether people like to admit it or not. Tottenham are getting overhyped to the point of no return right now. And it genuinely just gets on my nerves. Like, I just genuinely do not understand why there's so much hype for Tottenham Hotspur right now. When you look at the teams that they've beat, because people like to do context. So let's do context. When you look at the teams that they've beaten the 4 bottom teams in the Premier League. They've beaten Bournemouth, Luton, Sheffield, and Burnley. They've beaten Manchester United with no disrespect, Terry. We've seen Crystal Palace beat you. Other teams beat you. It's not that special to beat Man United this season. And then we also what happened. The heist at the White Hart Lane for Liverpool. So for me, Tottenham haven't been tested yet. And the run after this international break will truly test them. Now, if Tottenham come through that run on the other side in a positive note, then we can speak. Then we can actually sit up here and do Ainge this, Ainge that. Okay, and you know, Ainge got a style of play going and blah, 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 blah. And it's all cute and shit. And he says, mate, in his press conferences, and he's a nice guy. That doesn't mean that you have to just shove him down our throats every single time. We're like, it's just Ainge hype, Ainge hype, Ainge hype, Ainge hype. Bro, they beat bottom 4 teams. Whether it was Conte the manager or Mourinho or Nuno, they still beat those bottom 4 teams anyway. So it's just, and the Man United game, they make it look like it was a massacre. It wasn't a massacre. United hit the post twice. They could have scored 2. And then after that, with the Liverpool game, we also what happened. Spurs fans till this day act like they deserve to win that game. They didn't deserve it. So look, they haven't been tested yet. They haven't even been handed their first L yet. I think it's probably coming soon. But I think Spurs are probably 1 or 2 injuries away from crisis anyway. So let's see how Ainge handles that first before we start speaking about Ainge hype. Look, he doesn't deserve Manager of the Month, in my opinion. Son, fair enough. He scored 6 goals. So I'm going to just keep it stepping.
So who would you have given Manager of the Month to instead?
Arteta, yes. Mikel Arteta deserves it for this month. You thought I was going to say Klopp, but I'm saying Arteta.
No, you couldn't say Klopp. You didn't lose. You've lost. Well, actually, no. One of those games you would have lost in October, to be fair. But no, I didn't think you were going to say Klopp. I just weren't sure who you were going to mention. But yeah, you go. I mean, Arteta's a fair shout for who they beat and what they overcame. I mean, to say Spurs haven't been tested.
Wait one second. The games were in October. Which games were in October? The Spurs game was in October, right?
And Spurs Liverpool can't have been in October. It was nearly 2 weeks ago. It might have been like the final. It might have been the 1st of October. Actually, it might have been the Sunday, the 1st of October. To be fair,
because if that's the case, then Klopp deserves it because he's won every single game in the month before.
He might have. He might have done
September 30th.
Okay, so it was the last day of the month. Fair enough. And he beat you in it. Yeah. I mean, when you say they haven't been tested, though, they have played Arsenal away, where they most of the time lose. They didn't. They did beat Man United, and they did beat Liverpool. So they've played 3 of last season's top 5 teams. They played 3 of the traditional top 6 and walked away with 5 points. And you did say, look, that you said they haven't suffered their first L yet. Well, that's why the manager's winning the awards, because they haven't lost a game yet. Like, surely that deserves praise.
They lost to Fulham
in the League Cup, but the manager got the Premier League Manager of the Month, and that was also in, I think, August, maybe early September. So I get that, but they haven't lost a game in the Prem. So I don't see what much there is to criticize. Or is this more about you just don't think this is sustainable?
I
You
think
think
the
they're just in
hype
a
is
purple patch?
overblown. That's just the ultimate reality. I think the hype is too much right now. Ainge is getting overhyped every single time, and it's so cringy, these fucking press conferences when they're like trying to just blatantly suck off the guy. I don't like that. I genuinely don't like that. Like, I despise it. There's an obvious media bias there. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. Look, I've unpacked it objectively. They have beaten the bottom 4 teams. We're not lying. Man United beat Burnley. Like, should Ten Hag then get praise? Like, Man United, everyone's beating Burnley this season. Luton Town, anyone who watched that game, because you see people don't like to do context. Luton Town, they literally had probably miss of the season from Adebayo in that game, and they had a run of 10 minutes where they could have scored like 2 or 3 times, but obviously they don't have the quality. So for us to sit up here and act like Ange Postecoglou has been so revolutionary, and he's done so much, and he's done this and he's done that. Let's wait for them to get tested yet. And by the way, this isn't just my opinion. I think it was Opta who said that statistically speaking, Spurs have had the easiest start so far. Spurs have had the easiest start. It's not me making it up. You've played 4 of the bottom teams. Thank you. See? Easiest start. There you go then. Look how difficult Liverpool's start is compared to Spurs. Look there. Easiest test in the whole league. Tottenham Hotspur. So you can't sit there. I'm not Opta. You can't act like I made it up. I didn't make it up. It's the truth. I'm not Opta, bro.
So you feel like it's not what they're kind of doing essentially isn't sustainable. It will kind of fade away.
So, Spurs fall off is coming. The Spurs fall off is coming. And inshallah, we will be there. We will be there, inshallah. I cannot wait for the Spurs fall off. The Spurs fall off is something that I yearn for at this point. And, I've interacted with their fan base, over the past, a month or so. They keep calling me obsessed. I'm not obsessed. I'm just calling you out for what you are. I understand now why Arsenal fans laugh at Tottenham Hotspur. It has nothing to do with obsession or the VAR decisions. The VAR decision is not their fault. I'm just talking about them as a fan base. It's insane. Like, so for me, I'll be honest with you. They have had the easiest start so far this season. They haven't been tested, in my opinion. And for me, I look at Tottenham Hotspur and I know that that's an explosion waiting to happen right there. It's just a ticking, like, when are we gonna bottle it? When are we gonna fall off? When are we gonna become crap again? And I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. And it's a high possibility it happens this month of October or early November next, because the run that they have is not an easy run. And then we will see the true quality of Tottenham Hotspur then.
Look, I look at it this way. I think they're going to make the Champions League this season with how it's looking right now. I think they'll maintain that. They won't win the league. I don't think they'll be in the title race per se when you get to that home straight, the last 10 games. But I think they should be praised for how well they've started. I think it's been a phenomenal start to the campaign. But equally, where I agree with you is I've seen, and I've called this out on a few shows, this isn't a dig at Spurs, it's the unprofessional punditry. I've seen people that last year wouldn't praise Arsenal until the last 10 games, praising Spurs after 8 games. And I see an hypocrisy in that. There is, when I've seen Man United win games this season, but we haven't quite been at our best, or the opponents have missed big chances, it's been said that's an unsustainable win. I've seen Tottenham maybe win 3 games where you say, if VAR hadn't have had a mare, if Luton hadn't missed crazy big chances, and Man United in the first half, and even after Spurs scored their first goal, missed so many gilt-edged chances, some of those games could have been different. And the Man United game really bothered me. And part of this is, as a red, the way it was portrayed that Spurs schooled Man United in that game. I look back at it and thought to myself, I mean, those gilt-edged chances in the first half, Anthony hitting the post just literally a minute after they scored, we should be taking those chances and blame us. But this idea that we were outclassed for 90 minutes and we didn't have a sniff and we weren't in the game is a little bit disingenuous. So I do agree with you that certain media outlets.
You don't think Ainge is getting overhyped right now?
Sorry, go on.
You don't think Ainge is getting overhyped right now? Like, objectively speaking, you don't think they're doing too much Ainge hype?
Look. What's happening is, it's, again, yes, I do in certain circumstances, like I'm saying. My view is, before Spurs fans get angry, they should be praised for their start to the season. I think Big Ange is a breath of fresh air. They're doing better than 99.9% of people believe they would be after 8 games. I do believe it's been their greatest ever start to a Premier League campaign as well. So all of that needs praise. The point is, what I think is happening is this. Arteta's doing a great job now, but it's taken 3.5 to 4 years to get there. Ten Hag had a good start. If you look at the overall season, what came third, won a trophy. It took Klopp a while to get Liverpool cooking. I think what certain people are doing is like, wow, this is how quickly you can rebuild a team, 8 games. And I think what's wrong about that is that it's too short a period, because 1 or 2 injuries to the wrong players and they could have a drop off. If in the next 8 games they lose 3 of them, does that mean this? If the rebuild is complete success after 8 games, if in the next subsequent 8 games they lose 3, is it now suddenly an abject failure? No, it isn't either. It's a good start. And what I will say though is a lot of Spurs fans who have come onto the terrace. So Sava, Patrick, Alan, many of them that have come on at super chatters like Jerome have all kind of said happy with the start, but not getting carried away. And I think for me, that's the key component here. It's about not getting carried away. Some people I've seen online are like, we're challenging our rebuilds quicker and better than Arsenal's, better than Man United. We're on our way back. We've got our club back. I'm just sort of like, slow down a little bit. So I do get where you're coming from, but I do think Ange probably deserves manager of the month in the first 2 months. I think that he has been a breath of fresh air. I think they've been a great start, but they shouldn't get too carried away, because in life, especially for dating a young lady, gentlemen, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And that's the key component here.
If Spurs challenge for the league, I will come on the terrace, dye my hair white, and sing "Oh When the Spurs Go Marching In" from start to finish. If that happens, it's not going to happen. Spurs are not going to challenge for the title. Let's stop being ridiculous. They'll be lucky to make top 4. I'll be sorry with you. Certain people live in utopia, like they get overhyped in the moment. I'm not getting overhyped in the moment. I think Newcastle is better than them. I think Man United is better than them. I think Chelsea is better than them. On paper, that is. They just have to apply themselves better. But we will see if they do. With Tottenham Hotspur, listen, people need to understand, injuries are going to happen. Robertson just got injured on international duty. Injuries happen. This is not utopia where injuries don't happen. Every team is going to get injuries. That Spurs side is literally 2 injuries away from a crisis. So I'm not going to sit up here and say anything about Spurs like, oh my God, they deserve so much credit. Why? Because they pass the ball nicely. And so what? Luton Town literally penetrated their goal like 3, 4, 5 times. And that's fucking Luton Town. So yeah, that's my honest opinion. Look, I'm just being real. I'm just saying, I'm predicting this before it happens. Because we all know the ultimate Spurs downfall is gonna happen soon, and we will see. Because now, if they come onto this next run against Chelsea and City and Palace and Wolves, blah blah blah, and they've won games, okay, fair enough. Then we will say they're actually serious. But right now, I'm not gonna sit up here and say anything nice about Spurs. Get tested first. Liverpool have been tested. Man United have been tested. Man City have been tested. Arsenal have been tested. Spurs have had by far the easiest start to the season, as by Opta, not just me. So if I played. So you think so? So let's let's be honest here, Terry. Imagine now Liverpool had the same exact schedule that Spurs had. We played the bottom 4 teams. That's easy 12 points right there. No disrespect, but we'd beat Man United at home. No disrespect. The Brentford draw, we'd probably beat them at home as well. That's already 7 wins, just like that. That's already, like, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm just 7 wins. And you know what? I'm gonna say we even lose at the Emirates away. That's still 21 points. Like, it's just we can't sit up here and create fake, false scenarios. The reality is they have had an easy start. And I'm not going to sit up here and do too much Ainge prop. I'm just not. It's just how it goes, man. All this manager of the month crap. We will see. Listen, you can pick up all the awards you want in October. We'll see in May who's picking up the awards. And it won't be you. I promise you that.
Beyond here says, thought we won manager of the month, not who will win the league award.
You've never said that your whole life, Beyond.
Probably not. Spurs got gifted against Liverpool and lucky with Jorginho gift against Arsenal. Otherwise, they would have had 0 points instead of 4.
Thank you.
I mean, look, this is the one thing. There has been a bit of luck in those games as well, and that luck typically evens itself out over the course of the season as well. So, 3 home games for Spurs. Is that all they've had? Is 3 home games?
And who have their away games been? Who?
Their
Other than Emirates.
Arsenal. It has to be Arsenal, Luton, Brentford, Burnley, and somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head.
We're acting like they played tough games. They ain't played no damn tough games. Easy games. Brentford have been crap this season, by the way. Brentford have been actually rubbish without Tony. You beat them in the last second, but even you would admit Brentford aren't amazing. I actually went on multiple shows post that game, and I said, guys, Brentford didn't even deserve to beat. They didn't deserve
in that game against Brentford. It's disingenuous. We were lucky in the sense that we scored with the last 2 shots of the game, but we could have scored. The goalie was having a blinder, and Pinnock at the back. The blocks he made and the clearances he made were ridiculous. If we'd have scored 2 goals earlier, which we deserved to through the play, the rhetoric would have been United only won 2-1. It could have been 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1. So
no, I'm not saying you're lucky. I'm saying I disagree with people saying you're lucky.
No,
you
I
weren't
hear
lucky.
you.
Brentford were crap on the day.
No, I hear you. We outplayed them massively. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. So I hear where you're coming. I hear where you're coming from when you say that. Viewers, do us a big favor.